get some Welcome to Racin stuff the week of July 5th. And what is this? Is this
episode 20?
Episode 20. Another
Episode
milestone.
20, sort of.
Twice as many as we had last time we had a milestone. That's a joke.
Okay.
Twice as many as last time we had a milestone.
No, it's 5 more, and then we get to a legitimate milestone.
Oh yeah, I guess you can look at it that way. I like 20. It's a nice even number, and it used to be Tony Stewart's number, so that's always a plus. We should have had a celebration on episode 8 because that was formerly Junior's number.
Well, when we get to 88, we'll have a big celebration.
I would love it if we could make it to 88, but
we will.
But anyway, this is the show where we talk about racing and other sports, and we have a pretty packed show today. I think on Friday we were like, I don't know, we'll try to pull something out of our butt, and unfortunately, the sports world gave us much to talk about. And sometimes, well, I should say, in some ways fortunately, some ways unfortunately. And that's all. We'll start with the Sprint Cup race at Daytona. What'd you think of it, Chris?
I immediately started smiling. I was okay. This is the real quick,
ecstatic.
This is the real quick. This is the real quick 10-second version of the race and hole, and then we'll delve into it a little bit more.
Okay.
Average race at best. Amazing finish that I along with the people I was with were a little excited about.
Just a tad.
You
were a babbling idiot.
You were cracking up.
You guys were at the altitude of time. You guys are precious.
You did say that at the time too.
Yeah, you guys were precious.
Because okay, for those of you that obviously weren't there with us,
or okay, if you didn't watch the race or whatever, or if you don't know what happened,
there you go.
Tony Stewart dominated.
Yeah. And coming to the white flag, and I'll give him credit. Kyle Busch made kind of a power move, took the lead, cleared him, and
that was actually a really good pass too.
Yeah, he took the lead and cleared him. And coming out of 4, Tony ducked low. He blocked him. Tony
gave him a shot, and that got him loose. And Tony went to try to pass on the outside,
and he hit. And Kyle Busch came up. He wasn't quite clear. He was trying to block. Of course.
He was trying to block because it's coming to the line. It's for the win.
And he got wrecked, and it caused a huge wreck. And Tony Stewart won the race.
And he got almost flipped. He got hit twice.
Pretty hard, actually.
Yeah, he got knocked across the line.
But
poor Case Ken got involved, so Joe Logano was a big wreck.
But it was Doug and myself and two of our close friends that were with us.
They were brothers too.
One
of them will be on next week actually.
Yeah, and Kyle. We've talked about Kyle many times. Mm-hmm. He'll finally be on next week. We had a big build up for your dad. He was on. We had a big build up for Kyle, and now Kyle's going to be on.
Yeah,
actually, Deb will be on eventually. So all these people that we continually talk about.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm digressing.
Yes.
We don't really like. It's become a recurring theme on the show. My lack of fondness of Kyle Busch and
lack of fondness. You hate him with a fiery passion that consumes your soul.
I think you've said it before. The whole you don't just dislike him, you vehemently hate him.
You do. Oh, you spent during the pre-race, you were just detailing all the things you wished would happen to Kyle Busch.
No,
yes, you were.
I don't actually.
You were. Don't you lie. You totally were.
Yes, I was. But the best thing that could have happened. He didn't get hurt or anything. But it's interesting because you heard us say this, like seriously, with like 4 laps to go. I said to Josh, which is Kyle's brother, I said, you watch. Tony Stewart has dominated this race. Kyle Busch has not led it all. Watch him win the race. And then he took the lead, and then he got spun.
Yeah, and he almost pulled it out of his butt because, I mean, I was looking at it too. He actually, the only lap that he led was the white flag. So, and he only fell to 14th and all that. So, I mean, that's pretty. I mean, he got kind of lucky at the same time that it didn't cost him more, because now when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, like, you know, Martin took a huge hit in the chase idea that Kyle is, you know, looking pretty secure now compared to what you thought he was a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a very exciting finish. It's too bad that all those cars got wrecked. Mm-hmm. I mean, as much as I dislike Kyle Busch, I'll say this: it's even too bad that his car, you know, his car is perfect the entire. I feel bad for the crew. I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for the crew, and it's a shame. But you know, there was a poll on NASCAR's website about was it Busch's fault or Stewart's fault or a Racing deal.
I would say neither. It's Racing deal.
And well, that's what about a third said, but about it was like 23%, so a quarter said that, but about 59% said it was Kyle Busch's fault.
Well, and
well,
just like, okay, everybody likes to give like junior fans crap.
The benefit,
because they say that junior fans see him as doing no wrong.
I was just gonna say that.
On the other hand, Kyle Busch haters see him as doing everything wrong.
He does nothing right.
He does nothing right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what happened. Okay, Stewart hit him. That knocks Kyle Busch low. That got him loose and gave Stewart a chance to try to pass him. So if I wanted to, I could make the argument that really it's Stewart's fault for putting him in that situation. But it's not Stewart's fault because he's trying to win the race. Kyle Busch went to block him, spun himself out. So I can make the argument that it's Kyle Busch's fault. But hey, he's trying to win the race. He's got to do what he's got to do. They both did, and that's why it's just a racing deal.
And that's the exact view that I think of it. As much as I don't like Kyle Busch, if I were to place blame on anybody, it would be, well, I'm sorry, he was outside of you. You were not clear. You were blocking. But before I say that, well, of course he's going to block. It's coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and that's the only time I really deem blocking acceptable because, of course, you have to do what you have to do. Other times, I mean, if this was midway through the race, there's no reason for him to be blocking Stewart in this situation.
Oh yeah,
and then it's like, okay, well, you made a mistake because you did something you shouldn't have done. That just hurt you guys.
Yeah, which. I'm just worried now, and I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm just worried now about what people are going to say. Well, actually, there was an article I read that was entitled, I don't know if you saw it, it was entitled Something Clearly Wrong, and now they're saying that because this is 2 in a row that something has to change, and that the finishes are unsafe, and it's
Well, I've said that all along, that restrictor plates shouldn't be used, and this, to me, is a byproduct of restrictor plate racing. This is what's going to happen when you put them in a big pack like that. That's the only way they can pass, and that's how you have to race. You have to bump each other. You have to block each other. You have to cut each other off. You have to do everything you can to get that little, get that little bit of fender inside of a guy or outside of a guy, so you can pass him. And unfortunately, if I had to blame anybody, I would blame the plates, and I blame the plates for Talladega too.
Well, because what they said, what the article said was that if the winner feels bad about what happened, then something's not right. And
I think Stewart, don't forget, he was teammates with Kyle last year, so he knows him probably on a level that very few in the garage area do. Because like Dale Earnhardt Jr. might know him and race with him and talk to him before the race, but he doesn't know him like a teammate, like the guy that they talk to behind the hauler and all that. Stewart probably likes Kyle, or Stewart is friends with him, and he didn't want to wreck him to win the race. And I mean, because that was the outcome, was that Kyle wrecked. Because the way I said it implied that Stewart meant to. It wasn't intentional, of course. I think he just was hoping to pass him, and not, have there be any contact. And, that was a bad wreck, and maybe he thought he wasn't sure if Kyle was okay or not,
Because how would he know?
Yeah, he has no idea. And like he said, too, he wasn't even sure that he didn't cause that. That was the thing. Like, I was arguing because you guys were all going on and on. You're calm now, but Saturday you guys were going on and on about how Kyle Busch did this or that or whatever. A lot of it had to do with him being upset after the race and wanting to go into the truck. But when it comes down to it, these guys can't see very well inside those cars. And you think it might have gone this way, but you're not sure. And all you know is you got hit. And all Stewart knows is that he hit somebody. So,
yeah. I mean, I would vote in that, 23% or whatever that said it was a racing incident. I mean, I think actually it's kind of similar. It is very similar, except reverse lines, to what happened at Talladega.
Very much so.
Edwards was not in the wrong. He was he was blocking. It's just the fact that if it was like a video game where you have the outside car perspective, where if you duck inside of me, okay, I can see that you've got that fender. I'm not going to cut down. Well, I mean, Kyle would cut down on you. But there you go. But I mean, I'm not going to cut down on you. But I mean, they're in a car. They can't see that tenth of an inch where Stewart was on the outside or Keselowski was on the inside. You can't see that, and so you can't fault him. They're coming to the checkered flag,
Yeah, and he was hoping that he got there in time. If he does get there in time, maybe he does win the race, or maybe Stewart hits him again and they spin out, or because he's not going to let up in that situation. There's so many possibilities that could have happened there, and it's all fractions of a second. And
if you think
that whole like horseshoes and hand grenades kind of thing, almost.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Stewart in a way is lucky he didn't get caught up in that.
Yeah, the fact that it didn't slow him